She had tentacles. And too many questions. Jason was used to living alone. He liked silence, clean space, and easy routines. But all that changed when the alien exchange program picked him to host a guest from another world. Her name was Velra. She was tall, elegant, and blue-skinned. Her large black eyes didn't blink. Her voice was soft, almost musical. But the most shocking part, she had 4 long tentacles that moved on their own, like they had minds of their own. Jason had seen pictures of her species, but nothing prepared him for living with one. The first few days were quiet. She mostly stayed in her room, exploring Earth media on a tablet. She didn't eat human food. She didn't sleep in a bed. She didn't even knock before entering a room. That's how the first real problem started. It was a Sunday morning. Jason was in the kitchen, shirtless, making eggs. He turned around, and Velra was standing there, watching him, her head tilted to the side. "Your body produces heat when waking." Jason nearly dropped the pan. Yeah. It's called metabolism. And you could knock next time." "I don't understand, knock." He sighed. "Never mind. Just personal space, okay?" She nodded slowly, but her tentacles moved with interest. One of them reached toward the frying pan. "Stop. That's hot." She pulled back, blinking. "Your warning came too late. My skin sensors detected heat already." "Fascinating." Jason rubbed his temples. "This is going to be a long 6 months." That afternoon, she asked her first personal question. "What is mating?" Jason choked on his water. "What? I see it often in human media. Kissing, touching, physical bonding. I don't understand its purpose. It seems messy." Jason's face turned red. "It's complicated. It's part of love, romance. For humans, it's not just about reproduction." Velra leaned forward, her tentacles curling slightly. "Explain love." He froze. "How do you explain love to someone who's never felt it?" "It's an emotion, a strong one. You care about someone deeply. You want to be close to them, protect them." She stared at him. "Do you love someone now?" Jason looked away. "No, not right now." "Would you like to?" "That's not something you just decide. It happens naturally." She nodded slowly. "Humans are strange." Jason gave a dry laugh. "You're not wrong." Over the next few days, things got weirder. Velra started watching romantic movies, obsessively. Everything from old Earth dramas to silly modern rom-coms. She took notes. She asked questions. So many questions. Why do humans close their eyes when they kiss? Why do they hold hands? Does the chest feel pain when in love? Jason tried his best to answer, but it was exhausting. One evening, he came home and found Velra standing in the living room, wearing one of his hoodies. "Is this attractive?" she asked. Jason blinked. "That's my sweater." "Yes, it smelled like you. Humans find scent important during intimacy." Jason's heart skipped. "Okay, you really need to stop watching those movies." "But I want to understand. Why are you afraid of closeness?" "I'm not afraid," he said too quickly. This is weird." She stepped closer. Her voice was low. "Is it weird because I am not human? Or because I'm getting close?" Jason felt a mix of fear and curiosity. Both. The tension grew. She started sitting closer. Her tentacles would brush his arm when they watched TV. She stared at him too long when he spoke. Her questions became deeper. "Have you ever touched someone with love? Have you ever been touched like that?" Jason couldn't answer anymore. Then, one night, it happened. Jason was in his room, reading. The lights were low. Everything was quiet. Suddenly, the door opened slowly. Velra stepped inside, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her skin shimmered. Her tentacles moved gently, not with curiosity, but with purpose. She sat on the edge of his bed. "Jason, she said softly. I have more questions. He sat up, heart beating fast. It's late, Velra. She looked down, almost shy. I watched something today. It showed two beings who were scared, but they touched anyway. And they smiled after. Jason swallowed hard. That was fiction. Maybe. But I want to try something. He hesitated. Try what? Velra leaned closer. One tentacle brushed his hand. Can we talk about what happens when humans kiss? She tried to recreate a human kiss with a tentacle. Jason didn't sleep that night. Even after Velra quietly left his room, the air still felt thick, like something had changed between them. He could still feel the soft touch of her tentacle on his hand. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't cold. It was gentle. Too gentle. The next morning, Jason found Velra in the kitchen. She was floating a few inches off the floor, using her anti-gravity belt, reading a human biology book she had downloaded onto her tablet. Good morning, she said without looking up. Do all humans wake up looking damaged? Jason raised an eyebrow. What? She turned her head, one tentacle pointing to his face. Your eyes are puffy. Your hair is chaotic. Your heartbeat is elevated. Were you dreaming about mating? Jason groaned. I need coffee. He thought the weirdness would fade, but it only got worse. Velra started experimenting. She cooked romantic human meals, badly. Burnt pasta, cold soup, and one very dangerous moment where she tried to make fondue using motor oil instead of chocolate. She played Earth love songs on loop. Jason came home once to find her dancing slowly by herself in the living room, swaying to an old human track from the 1990s. But the strangest thing happened 3 days later. Jason had just finished his shower. He was walking into the hallway with a towel around his waist when he froze. Velra was standing in the middle of the hallway, again, without knocking. Only this time, she was holding a mirror, and she had lip gloss smeared across her mouth area. Her tentacles curled in curiosity. I studied the behavior. I believe I'm ready to try the human kiss. Jason backed up. Wait. What? I watched 12 different movie examples. Some involved slow movement. Others were sudden. Some used tongue. Others didn't. I will begin gently. Before he could respond, one of her tentacles reached toward his cheek, slowly, like it was preparing to kiss him. Jason panicked. Stop. Velra, that's not how kissing works. She froze, confused. But the motion is correct. Is it not? He took a deep breath. You can't study kissing like a science project. It's not just lips or pressure. It's emotion, connection, timing. Velra floated a little higher. Then teach me. Jason pulled the towel tighter. We're not doing this now. I'm half naked. She blinked. Ah, that would be phase 3. I understand. I skipped ahead. Jason walked quickly past her into his room and shut the door behind him. Later that night, Jason called his friend Max. Max worked in xenocultural research. He was one of the first humans to live among aliens. I told you not to sign up for the roommate program, Max said over the call, laughing. You thought you'd get a quiet fish lady. Sounds like you got a curious space octopus with romance issues. This isn't funny, Jason whispered. She tried to kiss me. With a tentacle. Did you let her? No. There was silence. Then Max said something that made Jason pause. She's bonding, man. That species doesn't date. They study. When they find something they don't understand, they get closer to it. Intimacy is curiosity for them. Jason frowned. So I'm just a science project. Maybe. Or maybe it's something deeper. Some aliens evolve feelings they can't name. Be careful, dude. Once they bond, it's hard to break. Over the next few days, Velra gave Jason space, but not for long. One night, he found a hand-drawn diagram on the table. It was labeled Kissing Techniques. Trial 1 to 3. Each drawing was worse than the last. One showed two stick figures colliding face first. Another had one person upside down. The third had a human and an alien, with 4 tentacles around their head like a squid hug. Jason sighed. What even is this? Velra entered from behind. I improved the technique. Would you like to try trial 4? No, he said, holding up a hand. No more trials. No more diagrams. No more surprise tentacle kisses. Velra looked disappointed. Then how will I learn? Jason walked to the window and stared. I would remember it. Always. His heart skipped again. This time, not from fear, from something else. Later that night, Velra left something on Jason's pillow. It was a small glowing stone from her homeworld. She had told him once it was used for peaceful dreams. There was a note. You fear touch, but I think you also miss it. Jason held the stone in his hand. She was right. He hadn't been touched, not like that, in a long, long time. Alien curiosity is dangerous, especially when it's emotional. Jason didn't know what scared him more, Velra's curiosity or his growing feelings. He kept telling himself it was just a cultural thing, just a misunderstanding. She was an alien after all. Her species didn't know romance, didn't know love. Touching meant memory. Studying meant bonding. This wasn't real, but it felt real. And that was the problem. It started again 2 nights later. Jason was working late on his laptop when he heard soft sounds from the living room. Not music, not tentacle movement. Something else. He walked out and froze. Velra was sitting on the floor. Her back was against the couch. Her 4 tentacles lay flat and still, which was strange. Her head was bowed, and in her hands was a small earth book, a romance novel. Jason stepped closer. Velra? She looked up slowly. Her big black eyes were glossy. Were those tears? I don't understand this story, she whispered. Jason sat down beside her. Which part? She sniffed. The human man. He leaves. He says he's scared. But he still loves her. Why would he leave something he loves? Jason looked at the book. It was one of those tragic love stories, the kind that ends with pain. Regret. I think, Jason said, he was scared of losing her later, so he left first. Velra was quiet for a while. Then she said something that caught him off guard. Do humans often run away from love? Jason didn't answer, because maybe he was doing the same. The next day, Velra changed her behavior. She didn't bring up kissing. She didn't ask about romance. She didn't even play love songs. Instead, she started acting human. She began wearing earth clothes more often, long sweaters, simple jeans. She even tried cooking again, using actual recipes this time. One night, she surprised Jason with grilled cheese sandwiches. They were terrible, but he smiled anyway. This is edible, right? She asked. Barely, Jason laughed. But it's the thought that counts. Velra tilted her head. The thought. Yeah, doing something because you care, even if it fails. She blinked, then smiled. I like that. Days passed, and things started feeling normal. Almost too normal. Until Jason noticed something strange. Velra's skin was changing. It wasn't the usual shimmer. There were new patterns, faint lines glowing under her blue skin. He also noticed her eyes blinked more now, something she had never done before. One night, while they were watching a movie, Jason asked, Are you okay? You're different. Velra looked down at her arms. I think I am adapting. To what? She hesitated. To you. Jason contacted Max again. She's what? Max nearly shouted through the call. She said she's adapting, Jason repeated. Physically, emotionally, her skin patterns are changing. Max was silent for a moment. Then he said, That's serious, Jason. Some alien species, when exposed to strong emotional environments, change. Their biology reacts to connection, to love. Jason felt his stomach twist. You're saying this isn't just curiosity anymore? No, Max said quietly. If she's adapting to you, she's not just studying you. She's bonding. Fully. And if that bond breaks. Jason didn't want to hear the rest. That night, he couldn't sleep. He sat in the dark, thinking. Was this really happening? An alien, a roommate, a scientist curious about human love, was now changing because of him. Was he leading her on, giving her hope? Or was it something deeper? Did he feel the same? He closed his eyes. He remembered the soft glow of her skin, the way she looked at him like he was the most confusing puzzle in the universe, and the most important one. He remembered her saying, "I would remember your touch forever." Jason stood up. He needed answers. He found Velra on the rooftop. She liked the stars. She said it made her feel like she was still connected to her planet. She was sitting cross-legged, staring up. When she heard him, she didn't turn. "I was wondering when you'd come," she said softly. Jason sat beside her. "You knew I would." She nodded. "You always return when confused. It's part of your pattern." He smiled. "You studied me too well. I had to." Jason looked at her. "Why?" She finally turned her head. "Because I didn't understand why my heart beats faster near you. I didn't understand why your sadness affects me. Why your laughter makes my body feel light." Jason's breath caught. She continued. "And now, I think I understand. But it's dangerous." "Why?" "Because my species was never meant to feel this way. If they find out, I could be punished. Or worse, disconnected." Jason felt cold. Disconnected. It means cut off from the mental link to my people. I would be alone. Forever. Jason reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. "I won't let that happen." Velra looked down at their hands. "Then tell me the truth. Do humans fall in love with aliens?" Jason didn't answer right away. But then he said, "I didn't plan to." Velra held her breath. Jason smiled gently. "But yes, I think I am." Far above them, hidden behind a nearby building, a small alien drone watched them. Its eye glowed red. It had seen enough. Her species doesn't believe in love, but she's changing. The message came in the middle of the night. Jason was asleep. Velra wasn't. She hadn't been sleeping much lately. Her thoughts were too loud. Her body felt different. Her skin glowed more now, and sometimes her tentacles shook, not from cold, but from something deeper, something human. She had been watching Jason's old home videos. His family, his childhood, his smiles, and every time he laughed on screen, she felt her chest ache, like something inside her wanted to get closer. She didn't have a word for it, but she knew what it wasn't. It wasn't science anymore. It wasn't study. It was something dangerous, something forbidden. The message blinked on her tablet. "Priority transmission. VELRA 9F of the HELUMINARI species." Her tentacle hesitated before opening it. A hologram appeared, cold and sharp. It was High Scientist Varen, leader of the Emotional Purity Board. His eyes were hard. His tone was colder than space. "Your mission was to observe and report, Velra. Not to bond. Not to touch. Not to feel." She said nothing. "We have detected emotional contamination. You are showing signs of biological drift. Adaptation beyond safety. This is unacceptable." Velra's voice was quiet. "I didn't choose this." "Exactly. That's why it must stop." He leaned closer in the hologram. "Cut contact with the human. We are sending retrieval within 7 Earth days. If you resist, you will be disconnected." The message ended. Velra stared at the screen. She didn't cry. Her kind didn't cry. But her hands were shaking. Jason woke up to silence. He looked around the apartment. No soft humming from Velra's room. No smell of her weird alien incense, no glowing tentacle lights under her door. He knocked. No answer. He slowly pushed the door open. She was there, sitting on the floor, hugging her knees, staring at the wall. He had never seen her like this. "Velra," he said softly. She didn't move. He walked over and sat beside her. "Talk to me." Finally, she spoke. "They're coming to take me back." Jason froze. "What?" "They know. About us. About me." He shook his head. "How?" "I don't know. But they're sending a ship. I have to leave." Jason stood up, angry now. "No, you don't have to do anything. You're not their prisoner." She looked up at him. "You don't understand, Jason. If I resist, they will cut me off. My species is linked, mentally, emotionally. We feel each other always. If they disconnect me, I'll be alone. Truly alone." Jason sat back down, his voice softer. "But if you leave, I'll be the one alone." The next day, Velra changed again. This time, it wasn't physical. It was emotional. She stopped playing music, stopped reading romance books, stopped touching him. She was pulling away. Jason tried to talk to her. She gave short answers. He cooked her favorite human meal, badly, but she barely ate. When he reached for her hand, she moved away. Jason's heart hurt, more than he thought it would. 3 days passed like this. Quiet, awkward, cold. It felt like she was already gone. But on the 4th night, she came to him. Jason was sitting outside on the small balcony, staring at the stars. Velra sat beside him, not too close. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" Jason asked. "For everything. For coming here. For touching you. For making you care." Jason looked at her. "I'm not sorry." She shook her head. "You don't understand what happens to me if I stay. I don't care. You should. I don't." She turned to face him fully now. "Jason, if I stay, I will change forever. I'm already changing. I blink now. I get cold. I get jealous. I felt angry when you smiled at the girl at the market yesterday." Jason raised an eyebrow. "You were jealous." I didn't know what the word meant. I had to look it up. She laughed a little, but it was sad. "I'm scared," she said. "I don't even know who I'm becoming." Jason reached out and touched her hand. "You're becoming something beautiful." Later that night, they sat on the couch in silence. A quiet movie played on the screen. They didn't watch it. Jason turned to her. "I need to ask you something." She nodded. "Is what we have real?" She didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, "I think about you when I close my eyes. I remember your voice when I'm afraid. I feel something in my chest when you're near. If that's not real, then nothing is." Jason leaned closer. "Then don't go." Velra's eyes filled with emotion. "Then don't let them take me." But neither of them saw the message blinking on her tablet. "Retrieval ship now entering Earth orbit. Prepare for extraction." They saw us. Now we're in trouble. The sky changed before the world knew. High above Earth, hidden in low orbit, a sleek silver ship hovered like a silent judgment. It bore no flags, no lights, no welcome. Only one message pulsed from its core. Retrieve SUVGCTVEL or A9F. Destroy if ROISISTED. Jason woke up to thunder, but there were no clouds. The windows of the apartment rattled. The power flickered, and deep in his chest, he felt something heavy. Wrong. He rushed into the living room. Velra was already there. She was standing in front of the balcony, her glowing blue skin pale and dim. Her eyes were wide, staring into the sky. "They're here," she said quietly. Jason ran to the window. There was nothing visible, yet, but something was up there. He could feel it. Velra held up her tablet. A red symbol flashed on the screen. Extraction countdown. 4 hours. Jason's heart pounded. Then we need to go. Now. Velora shook her head. There's nowhere to run. They don't use weapons. They use gravity. Time. Pressure. They will pull me from the inside out. Jason grabbed her hand. Let them try. They packed fast. Essentials only. Jason didn't know what to bring. Money. Useless. IDs? Pointless. All he grabbed was a photo of his mom and an old Earth map book. Velora didn't pack anything. I don't need things, she said. I only need you. They left the apartment by back stairs. Jason had a friend, a girl named Rhea, who lived off-grid near the coast. No digital signals, no trackers. If they could just reach her, maybe they could hide long enough to figure something out. The ride was silent at first. Jason drove. Velora watched the sky. Then she spoke. I don't want to run forever. Jason glanced at her. We're not running. We're protecting something. What? He looked at her and smiled. Us. An hour into the drive, Velora's skin began to flicker. Jason, she whispered, holding her arm. They're reaching inside me. Jason pulled over fast. Velora stumbled out of the car. Her tentacles were twitching. Her chest glowed with strange red lines pulsing beneath her skin. He caught her before she fell. I can feel them, she gasped, calling me, pulling me back. Jason held her close. Fight it, just a little longer. Her voice shook. If I resist too long, I'll collapse, or worse. Jason looked around. They were in the woods now, no towns nearby. He grabbed his phone. He called Max. Max answered fast. Where are you? In the forest, East Highway. Velora is being pulled, telepathically or biologically. I don't know. Max cursed under his breath. You need to get underground. Lead-lined if possible. Why? They're using a neural frequency. Your connection with her makes you a conduit. If she resists too long, her brain might shut down, or you might. Jason felt a chill. Then tell me how to stop them. You can't stop them, Max said. But maybe you can send a message they can't ignore. Jason ended the call. He looked at Velora, who was barely staying conscious. Can you still access your species network? He asked. She nodded weakly. Yes, but only for a moment. He helped her into the car, set up the tablet, and turned on the camera. Then let's tell them the truth, he said. The message was simple. Jason sat next to Velora, her hand in his. He looked directly into the camera. My name is Jason Hart. I am a human from Earth, and I love Velora. He paused. She is not a machine, not a tool, not a servant to your laws. She is her own person. She changed because she wanted to. She chose love. He looked at Velora, and she said, with the last of her strength, I am no longer fully luminary, and I don't want to be. I want to be what I am, with him. Jason turned back to the camera. If you take her, you're not just stealing one of your own. You're killing something new, something beautiful, something bigger than both of us. He ended the message and hit send. 3 minutes later, the ground began to hum. The sky above shimmered, and a sleek alien ship decloaked above the trees. Jason stood in front of the car, shielding Velora. From the bottom of the ship, a beam of soft white light descended, and in that light appeared 3 tall figures. Luminary, glowing, cold. One of them stepped forward. Human, step aside. Jason didn't move. No. The figure raised one hand. She is diseased with emotion. You will be spared if you surrender her. Jason shouted. She's not diseased. She's evolving. The alien tilted its head. That is not allowed. Velora, weak but standing now, stepped forward. Then disconnect me. The aliens looked at each other. She raised her chin. I choose this path. I choose him. Jason took her hand. And something unexpected happened. The alien ship above paused. The leader looked down at their wrist device. The screen flashed. Another voice came from the ship's speakers. Pause extraction. Galactic Council has intercepted message. Cultural Protection Protocol activated. Jason stared. What does that mean? Velra blinked in disbelief. We're not being taken. We're being observed. The lead alien stepped back. You will remain here, but you are now under Council study. Any interference will be punished. Jason and Velra stood there as the ship recloaked and disappeared. The sky went quiet again, but nothing felt the same. Jason turned to Velra. You okay? She looked at her arms. Her glow was softer now. Stable. I feel free. Jason smiled. Then Velra asked, but what does this mean now? Are we still being watched? Jason looked up at the stars. Let them watch. Running from the stars. They didn't run anymore. There was nowhere left to hide. After the message went galactic, Jason and Velra weren't just two unknown beings in love. They were symbols. Their story had gone across the stars. Some called it beautiful. Others called it dangerous. And the Galactic Council had one response. Let them live, but watch them closely. It had been 3 weeks since the ship disappeared. Jason and Velra were still living in the small coastal house, off-grid, surrounded by trees and ocean wind. No phones, no networks, no visitors. But above them, satellites floated, silent observers with cold red eyes. Jason called them star spies. Velra called them the waiting ones. At first, it felt like peace. They cooked together, sat by candlelight, slept beside each other. Velra's skin had stopped flickering. Her body stabilized. Her tentacles moved gently now, only when she felt something strong. One wrapped around Jason's arm when he held her too close. Another curled around his hand when he laughed too hard. She was learning, slowly, what humans called affection. And Jason was falling deeper. But something felt off. Not wrong, just different. It started when Jason noticed she wasn't blinking anymore. One morning, he woke up to find her standing at the window. She hadn't moved all night. Velra? He whispered. She turned slowly. I didn't sleep. He sat up. Why not? I was listening. To what? She pointed to the sky. The satellites hung. Not in sound. In thought. Jason got up and stood beside her. You hear them? She nodded. They're not just watching. They're waiting. Waiting for what? Velra looked at him, and this time her voice was soft. For one of us to break. Later that day, Velra began sketching. Jason found her outside on the porch, a piece of charcoal in one hand, drawing symbols into an old notebook. They weren't human letters. They weren't luminary either. They were new. I dreamed these, she said. Jason sat beside her. What do they mean? She shrugged. I don't know. But when I look at them, my chest feels warm. Jason stared at the strange shapes. They glowed faintly on the paper, even in sunlight. Are you creating a new language? Velra smiled. Maybe. Maybe it's us. The days were peaceful, but Jason couldn't relax. He started having headaches, small ones at first, then worse. Sometimes he'd black out for seconds. Velra noticed. You're getting weaker, she said one evening, touching his temple gently. Jason laughed it off. Probably just stress. Not used to living without coffee and Wi-Fi. But Velra wasn't smiling. I think the connection between us is deeper than we thought. When I changed, maybe something changed in you too. Jason paused. You mean, you think I'm changing? Velra nodded slowly. You gave me feelings. What if I gave you something back? That night, Jason had a dream. He was floating in a sea of stars. Velra was beside him, but not as he knew her. Her body was light, her voice a song. She reached out, and when he touched her, His skin shimmered, blue and gold. Then he heard whispers, voices not his own. He is not ready. He is breaking. The link must be severed. Jason woke up gasping. Velra was already awake, watching him. You heard it too? He asked. She nodded. They're not just watching us. They're inside now. Jason grew weaker. He tried to hide it. But Velra saw everything. His hand shook when he cooked. His nose bled once while they watched the sunset. His memory slipped. Names, dates, words. One afternoon, she said the words he feared. You're dying, Jason. He looked away. Don't say that. I feel it. In my mind. In our bond. He stood up angrily. Then break it. Disconnect. Save yourself. But Velra shook her head. If I break the bond, I die too. Just slower. Jason slammed his hand on the table. Then what's the answer, Velra? We're trapped. We can't leave. We can't love. We can't even live. Velra walked to him and placed a hand on his chest. Yes, we can. Jason's voice cracked. How? She looked up at the stars. We give them something they can't understand. That night, Velra took him to the beach. The ocean was calm. The stars were bright. And for the first time, she was glowing from the inside out. I've been thinking, she said, her tentacles flowing gently in the wind. If we're going to die, let it be for something. Jason nodded. What are you planning? Velra smiled. I'm going to rewrite what they know about love. She stood at the edge of the water and raised her hand. A small orb floated from her palm. Right, spinning, humming. Jason stared. What is that? A message. But not like before. This time, it's not words. It's not video. It's feeling. The orb rose into the sky. And then Velra turned to Jason. Kiss me. Jason blinked. What? Kiss me. Not for curiosity. Not for study. Not because we're afraid. But because we choose to. Jason didn't hesitate. He stepped forward and kissed her. It wasn't strange anymore. It wasn't alien. It was real. And the orb above them exploded in light. Across the sky, the satellites blinked. They recorded data, but nothing made sense. The emotional readings were too strong, too pure. Love, pain, hope, fear, mixed into one pulse. A signal no machine could translate. A message only hearts could read. The next morning, Jason woke up without pain. Velra was asleep beside him, finally blinking again. And in the sky above them, the red lights were gone. No watchers, no spies, just stars. One last touch, then everything changed. It rained that morning. Not heavy, not loud, just a soft drizzle, like the earth was whispering. Jason sat by the window, sipping warm tea, watching the drops slide down the glass. He didn't feel weak anymore. No nosebleeds, no shaking hands, no missing time. Whatever Velra had done, it worked. He was alive. And she was glowing. Velra had been asleep for 2 full days after the kiss on the beach. Jason stayed by her side the entire time, scared she might not wake up. Her body shimmered between blue and silver. Her pulse was slower. Her breath soft, almost silent. But the moment she opened her eyes, Jason knew. She wasn't the same. And neither was he. What happened? He had asked. She looked at him, confused. Then she touched his face, and he saw everything. Not through words, not through speech, but through feeling. A memory, shared like a dream. The satellites had recorded the kiss, but it wasn't just light and sound. It was energy, emotion, something they couldn't process. The system froze. The council paused. The machines stopped watching, not because they were defeated, because they were overwhelmed. They couldn't measure love. That one moment rewrote the rules. And now, the council didn't know what to do. So, They did nothing. They left. Jason watched Velra now as she stood outside in the rain, arms out, eyes closed. She didn't flinch when water hit her face. She smiled. "I used to hate rain," she said as he stepped outside beside her. Jason raised an eyebrow. "Why?" It felt like the world was crying, and I didn't understand sadness yet. And now I think, maybe it's cleansing. They spent the next few weeks building a quiet life. They started planting small crops in the garden. Velra liked earth plants. They didn't judge. They just grew. Jason taught her how to bake real bread. She burned the first 5 loaves. Then the 6th came out perfect. She cried when she tasted it. Jason didn't laugh. He cried too. Velra's body kept changing. Her tentacles grew softer, more like flowing fabric than flesh. Her skin no longer shimmered but pulsed gently with soft light. Her eyes developed new colors, green mixed with gold. She was becoming something new. Not human, not luminary. Something between. Something only love could create. Jason didn't care what she became. He just wanted her to stay. But one day, she asked him a question that made his heart freeze. "Jason," she said, sitting on the grass, sunlight touching her glowing skin, "if I could go back, if I could be normal again, would you want me to?" Jason sat beside her. "No." She looked at him, surprised. "Why not?" "Because I don't love who you were," he said. "I love who you became. And you became that, with me." Velra smiled, but there was something in her eyes. Something like sorrow. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He heard Velra moving around in the other room, soft steps, quiet whispers to herself. He peeked in. She was drawing again. This time, not symbols, but people. Them. In different places, different poses, dancing, holding hands, laughing. Some drawings had stars in the background. Others had alien cities. One had a child. Jason didn't say anything. But he felt her heart, even without touching her. She was preparing to leave. The next day, she told him. "I have to go," she said. Jason just stared at her. "Why?" "They're sending others. New observers, younger ones, curious ones. And if they come here, they will make the same mistake I did. They'll treat humans like puzzles, like tools, and they won't have you to guide them." Jason's voice cracked. "But I need you." She touched his chest gently. "No, you taught me. And now, I have to teach them." They argued, not loudly, but it still hurt. Jason begged her to stay. Velra cried for the first time. Real tears. And that made it worse. She wasn't being taken. She was choosing to go. And somehow, that made it more painful. Because love had given her something no luminary had ever known. Purpose. And now, she was following it. On the morning of her departure, they didn't say much. Jason helped her pack. Not bags, but memories. Drawings. Photos. A recording of their first kiss. And one small object. The stone she had once left on his pillow. The dream stone. Jason put it in her hand. "So you don't forget me." Velra smiled through tears. "I can't forget you. You're part of me now." The ship that came was not like the one before. It was small, quiet, peaceful. No threats, no watchers. Just a silent door that opened with warm light inside. Velra stepped in, then stopped. She turned back. Jason was standing alone. No tears, but his hands were clenched. She walked back to him, looked into his eyes, and said the words she had never said before. "Do you love me, Jason Hart?" Jason didn't blink. He leaned in and whispered, "Yes, always." They kissed one last time, and when they touched, something happened. Not to them. To the sky. It lit up, not with fire, but with color. A wave of soft blue and gold rippled through the clouds like music in the air. Birds flew. Trees shimmered, the sea glowed, and across the galaxy, sensors pinged, signals rang, and the Luminary Council recorded the result. Love, verified. Valeris stepped into the ship. Jason watched as it rose silently into the sky. He didn't cry. He stood still. And when the light faded, he smiled. He turned back toward the house. He walked inside. He sat at the desk. And he began to write. This is a story about an alien who didn't believe in love, and the human who proved her wrong.